X cars will get ready for their feature event. We are under green flag, and our field goes down into turn number 1, and it is the getaway by the Pinto of Johnny Walker, barreling his way down the backstretch. And as I said earlier, that car, reminiscent of cars that started to break out the change in the modified body in about 1972, they went from that coupe car, that you see the number 8, to those cars, the Pintos, the Vegas, Gremlins, Monzas, Cavaliers. That style of body became the preeminent style for modifieds. And then it has gradually morphed into what you see, the number 30 of Gary Byington. That is a more contemporary style of modified that races here each and every Saturday night in the SK Modifieds, and when we have the Tour Modifieds, like the Modified Racing Series or the Modified Tri-Track Series. But it is Johnny Walker out to a commanding lead in the early stages of this race, just 3 laps in. Plenty of time for the 00 to rear his head and go into full gallop mode. And right now he's trying to powerbomb his way on the outside by Gary Byington. Byington trying to fight him off. So Ben Levangie decides it's time to move about 5 laps into our American Vintage Modified event. Car driven by Ted Christopher. Just one of the names that have sat behind the wheel of the 00. Still has a long way to go and a long time to get there to get Johnny Walker, who's going down the backstretch in that number 7 machine. Both the 7 and the 711 are worked on by Wade Gagner. Wade drives the SK Lights at Stafford, a sometimes competitor in the American Vintage Modified, and his claim to fame is starting the Wild Thing Kart Series at Stafford. Tom Mayberry starting to get a little antsy and put some pressure on his teammate. And perhaps a little hiccup, a little wiggle by Johnny Walker. Mayberry drops back by about 3 car lengths, and all the while, reeling them in, looking to have a clean season, is Ben Levangie in the 00. Walker, who's led from the drop of the green flag, will hit the halfway point. So the first 10 laps have been all Johnny Walker. Mayberry is in second in hot pursuit, and perhaps an even hotter pursuit is the 00 of Ben Levangie. Then it'll be Jakes and Byington making up the rest of our pack. Starting to feel the heat is Johnny Walker. Mayberry has closed in to an arm's length, and probably a whole body back is the 00 of Levangie. Streaking to the outside is Mayberry. Got up close to the wall, fell back just a bit in his battle between he and Walker, and trying to reel them in, the 00 of Levangie. They are almost single file. Working the top groove is Levangie to try to close in and get a run on Mayberry. But it is still Johnny Walker leading the pack down the backstretch. The laps starting to come off the scoreboard. And Johnny Walker leads the field. Tom Mayberry trying to work him over, and if Levangie is going to have the perfect season, he is going to have to do it over the final 5 laps. They buzz their way down into turns 1 and 2. Levangie continuing to try to go up the hill in a search for some speed. Mayberry pedaling as hard as he can to try to get a run at the leader. But it has been all Johnny Walker from the drop of the green flag down the backstretch into turn 3. Is this Mayberry's chance as we are down to 3 laps to go? Levangie sitting in that 3rd spot for the first time this season. He will not be in the lead over the final stages of this race. with Walker leading the pack. Mayberry hot on his heels. Levangie trying to close in, perhaps a late race strike. Here comes Mayberry trying to work down low. 1 lap to go. The window is open for Mayberry to try to climb through. He gets almost to the wheel well, but fighting him off is Johnny Walker. And off turn number 3, taking the checkered flag, will be Johnny Walker for the first time in the American Vintage Modifieds. A lot easier getting out of street stock, right, Johnny?
Sure is. I barely fit in this thing. It's like a can of sardines for me getting in this thing. Whew, that was an awesome race. Definitely a shorter track than I'm used to. It's very action-packed, and yeah, I'm wore out after that.
Like this is like the 3rd time I think you've been behind the wheel of the 7?
Yep, 3rd time behind the wheel of a modified ever. I got to thank my boss, John Mayberry, for letting me drive this car and his whole crew, the Gagners and Alan, my guy Aaron. This was great. Yeah, it's my 3rd time ever racing this track. 3rd time in a modified. This was great.
Anybody else you need to say thank you to?
I'm sure everybody that helps put this car together, especially over at Mayberry, Raise a Hope. They're a big sponsor, a big part of why John does this. I got to thank John again for letting me drive this. My crew, his crew. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.